Minecraft is a game that we're all familiar with. That same opening sequence of the world loading in, then we pop into the world and begin punching trees. But even the most casual Minecraft player has wondered, at least once, how everything fits into this wonderful multiverse of worlds. Here, we look at all things the game tells us, and use real-world knowledge to ascertain the nature of things in Minecraft worlds. Welcome to the Theory Discussion channel. Let's begin. There are all kinds of things in Minecraft that defy our world's logic. Crafting, for example. Magic. Dimensional rifts that lead to hell and the end of all things. But not slimes. That's right, slimes aren't some fantastical creature that, well, sort of. Let's start over, shall we? This series is divided into two groupings of creatures, non-magical and magical. Non-magical creatures may have been augmented or empowered by magic, or not, but they have not been created by magic. They are not beings of magic. They could easily have appeared on Earth. So, why are slimes here? Well, slimes are at the bottom of the tree of life. This is because, in our world, there was a time when single-celled organisms were the most advanced form of life. Then they congregate into groups of, well, you guessed it, slimes. These congregations were, and are, made of cells that work together as a cohesive whole, and they are all the same type. Various slime molds exist today, and there are other algal slimes in the oceans. But the slimes in Minecraft are a bit different. They seem to be more like the ones we see in fantasy games like Dungeons and Dragons, or anime and manga slime girls. Well, okay, not really. Or more like the ones in That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. In some ways, they're more like these fantasy slimes, but not in all. Let's discuss. Before we continue on, we really need to have a definition of life. Of course, we can look at the world and say, well, plants are alive and animals are alive. But if you were to take a step back, they might not be all that similar for an outsider. So let's define it. Life grows, feeds, breeds, and behaves in certain ways. And Minecraft slimes certainly do these. So the question is, do slimes grow? Well, let's consider. You've just wandered into a swamp and seen some small slimes, medium slimes, and even large slimes. If you slice through one, you know that they divide. Right into the little ones, and then they pop, and sometimes give you a slime ball, sometimes before this. But did you know you can also summon an enormous one with commands? That prompts the question, how could a slime get that big? Well, obviously, in the game as it is, you can't do that without commands, but it's implied that it would be by eating and growing. This is implied due to the game mechanics just having slimes appearing, but these sort of things are inferred to be moving and growing, and slimes just randomly wander even if they don't see you. So even if we don't have confirmation of what they eat, we can at least say that they do grow. Like I just mentioned, unlike some animals, slimes don't drop what their last meal was. No fish, no beef, just slime balls. So how do we know what they ate? Well, this one's a little bit of a stretch, but stay with me. Slimes spawn in two areas, swamps and slime chunks. And slime chunks, well, they're underground. Underground there is no sunlight, so that rules out photosynthesis as a possibility of getting sustenance. There also doesn't appear to be anything that screams chemosynthesis, so it's likely the slimes envelop their prey, likely eating plants and animals and other creatures alike. So don't die to a slime. Aside from the embarrassment, you'll be disgusted and digested, and quickly too, most likely. Alright, so we're well on our way to defining slimes as a form of life, but now we get to the question, how do slimes breed? Well, mitosis, cellular reproduction and budding. Groups of cells like this will grow to a certain size. If the environment can support a larger form, it will keep growing. But if it can't, a slime will split in two. Both essentially the same, but their own beings. It's a common trope for slimes to divide for two reasons. To support its feeding, not enough food for when it gets larger, or as a defense mechanism when it's attacked. Just, when you attack a slime, don't leave the two smaller slimes around unless you want to come back to an even bigger problem. So, slimes are alive by definitions from before, but what makes them non-magical? This is an assumption, but we've never seen any lore implying that slimes were made magically. We just see them out in the wild, living their lives. But that doesn't mean they aren't augmented by magic. Let's consider the ecology of slimes for a moment. There's not a lot in the swamps, even less in the caves where there are slime chunks. Slimes still wander around eating things that they happen upon, then grow and eventually divide and continue doing this. But you'll notice that on a night when there's a full moon, slimes are very plentiful. And when there's a new moon, there are no slimes at all. Why is that? Well, slimes are primarily made of cells, and cells are primarily made of water, seen as cytoplasm, but still water. The moon obviously affects water, as seen in tides on Earth, and many humans feel strained when there's a full moon, so perhaps slimes come to the surface when the moon is fuller due to its gravitational effects. Or perhaps there's more. Maybe there's something darker at play. We'll discuss the possibility of something darker at play later on, but for now it's safe to say that slimes position themselves squarely at the bottom of the tree of life. But what's next? What do we discuss after slimes? What creatures might be more iconic than them? Tune in next time to find out. Until then, have a great day and enjoy your Minecrafting.